Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about investigating abuse, neglect, or mistreatment. So, regulations pertaining to investigations. We're going to talk about the different regulations for ICF DDH regulations title 22-76916-A and 8 for regulation for ICF DDN title 22-73917-A-8 for ICF MR Federal Certification Regulations, the W153 and 157. Title 22, a procedure by which allegations of client abuse are immediately reported to the administrator must be established. Such procedures shall assure that all alleged violations are thoroughly investigated and the results of the investigations are reported to the administrator within 24 hours of the report of the incident and confirmed in writing. The Federal ICF MR W153-W154, the facility must ensure that all allegations of mistreatment, neglect, or abuse, as well as injuries of unknown source, are reported immediately to the administrator or to other officials in accordance with state law through established procedures. So the facility must have evidence that all alleged violations are thoroughly investigated. The Federal ICF MR W153 and W154, the facility must prevent further potential abuse while the investigation is in progress. So the results of all investigations must be reported to the administrators or designated representative or to other officials in accordance with state law within 5 working days of the incident. The investigation comprised of who is an appropriate investigator or what matters should be considered prior to the investigation, what general interview techniques are useful, what interview techniques can be used for the complaint that accused or when the origin of injury is unknown, and what documentation is appropriate. Who should be the investigator? 1. A middle manager, owner, or fellow QMRP or QIDP, the QIDP or QMRP administrator, the member of the Human Resources Department, or the RN, or registered nurse. When attributes does the investigator need? Objectivity, knowledge of company policies, effectiveness as an interviewer, credibility, ability to maintain confidentiality, and ability to instill confidence. Matters to consider before the investigation. Why is the investigation required? What are the potential objectives? Who should be part of the investigation team? Through whom and how should contact interview be made? And what is the deadline of the investigation? So before the investigation, you determine documents to be reviewed, the complaint if applicable, rules, policies, procedures, personal files or prior concerns, individual charts, physical evidence, the SIRs, or other reports. Determine who needs to be interviewed. The person who raised the issue, person identified by person who raised the issue, person being investigated, supervisors or staff who have worked with the person investigated, witnesses to the event, consumers in the facility, the neighbors, day programs, bus drivers, or family members. And to continue, the investigations determine the order of the interviews, determine the format for recording the information, and establish a system for organizing and maintaining the files. Recording information during interviews. Start a new page for each interview or each news station, and at the top of the page, place names of those present, the dates, time, and place, and the date of the notes. Also, take verbatim notes during each interview, and do not include interpretations, beliefs, assumptions, conclusion, and the notes. During the interview, consider factors such as evasiveness, contradiction in statements, blushing, other facial expressions, potential signs of anxiety such as shaking or perspiration, defensiveness, and other demeanor. At the end of the interview, review with the witness the points contained in the notes to confirm accuracy and determine if the interview has anything to add. So after each interview, take a few minutes to separately record the impressions, follow-up questions for others, and contradiction information. The general interview techniques determine the issues to explore, understand what facts are necessary to reach a conclusion, prepare an outline of key questions, establish the procedures and the reasons for the investigation, and begin with open-ended questions and move to the more narrow questions. General interview techniques: do not ask compound questions. Ask questions which force the person to relate events chronologically. Save unfriendly or hostile questions until the end. Do not conclude the interview without asking the tough questions, even if the interview is uncomfortable. Neither give the impression that you disbelieve any witness nor express an opinion. Ask additional questions based on answers to pre-plan the question. Interviewing the complainant. Review the commitment of the facility to conduct a prompt and thorough investigation. Second, review the policy that there will be no retaliation against a person for making an honestly believed complaint or report. 3, review that it is expected the complaint provide a thorough, truthful account. 4, do not promise confidentiality. Review state procedure. So concluding the interview with the complainant, you thank the person for bringing the complaint forward, reaffirm the prohibition of retaliation, ask that information shared by confidential within the facility or agency, inform them there may be follow-up, and confirm the facts that is established. So interviewing the alleged wrongdoer. 1, do not disclose the source of information. 2, begin with open-ended questions and narrow questions until completed. 3, ask for any facts, people who may have motive to fabricate the allegations. Ask for people that the accused wants you to interview to confirm alibi, conduct and, and so forth. 5. Watch your attitude, stay calm and imperial. How to ask the questions. Is there any action or behavior you might have engaged in that someone else might have interpreted as inappropriate or mistreatment? Have you ever observed another staff member engaging in a behavior that you believe was inappropriate or maybe mistreatment? When the origin of injury is unknown, did you notice a change in the person's behavior on a specific date? Does this person exhibit symptoms of fear when around a person or people? How does this person display discomfort or fear? When did you notice the mark and injury? Are there any behaviors you have observed by any staff that you feel are inappropriate? So is this person clumsy or unstable when walking? Have you ever observed similar marks or injuries? What documentation may be appropriate? Log of actions, interview notes, physical, license assessment, photograph, psychosocial follow-up, final summary of investigation. Individuals available to interview, you can interview all the people that pertains to or involved in the case scenario. So once you submitted it, an investigative form report is completed. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, like, and subscribe, and see you on the next video.